You can see it. And similarly, you can try in the Octave desktop version. Okay, now let us first second question. In the second question, we have been asked to compute the value of sine 30 degrees and its inverse using its result. So now we will compute the value of sine 30. For computing the value of sine, we have the function sine d. Sine d computes in degrees and sine computes in radians. This is the difference between sine d and sine. As we have discussed, we have computed sine 30. You can see it. The value of sine d has been assigned to the different variable named ans. This is a default function. If you are not assigning to any variable, then it will automatically assign to the ans. You can use ans again. Like for computing the inverse of this one, we will use the function a sine d. A sine d is used for calculating the inverse of sine function in degrees. Here you can see it. You will get the answer 30 degrees. Similarly, you have for cosine and cosecant, secant, or any other trigonometric function. And similarly, you can try other two questions, finding the area of a rectangle and the radius of a circle when a point is given or length and breadth is given. Just try it out and keep your answers in the chat box. Okay, I guess you guys have tried these questions. I'm reading this out. You can ask your doubts in the chat box. Let us shift to the next slide. Here, you will get confused if we are having a command that is more than a line. Then we can use 3 consecutive periods to extend the command to the next line. And also we have help command for getting online help. And for comments, we have percentage symbol. You can look it here. If you type help sine d, you'll get a description of the sine d command. And you have comment. For typing comments, percentage symbol you will use, like this will not be executing. You can see it. And now, as we have discussed in the morning section, we have who command, whose command, and clear command, clear all command, and many different types of commands have been listed here. You can look at them. And for arithmetic operations, generally we use symbols, but we can use built-in functions sum for summation and diff for difference. And for statistical commands, you can use mean, median, max, and minimum, sort, different built-in commands. For today's section, we will be having the if else command and switch case command and loops and plotting different types of graphs and creating different types of functions. For beginning, we will begin with the if else command. You can see the syntax of if else command on the screen. Okay, let us discuss example of if else command. Like I am initializing a variable x with a value, and I am using if command to verify if the x is greater than 30. DISP is a command used for displaying the message. Unlike other programming languages, we should end the if else command with an end statement in MATLAB. Here you can see that it has been displaying you got it because our x value is greater than 30. And similarly, we can try for any other thing. Let us try out some examples of if else command. Before that, I will be introducing you with.
मैम लाइन स्पेस का क्या यूज है वो वाला दोबारा बताना है.
देखो लाइन स्पेस एक फंक्शन होता है, बिल्ट इन फंक्शन है वो. वेट, हेल्प लाइन स्पेस टाइप कर लो तो तुमको डिस्क्रिप्शन मिल जाएगा इसके बारे में. देखो लाइन स्पेस लीनियरली स्पेस वेक्टर को क्रिएट करता है. उसका 3 आर्गुमेंट्स होता है जनरली. x1 is the start element and x2 is the end element, and n is the number of points which you want to generate. For example, if you're typing line space 2 to 10 and 5 elements in between, then you will have a row vector 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Here start value is 2 as you can see, and the end value is 10, and we have 5 elements in between.
Okay, ma'am.
Here are different commands. These commands are logical outputs. You can verify them with different functions. Generally, these are used for conditions in if-else command. Is_nan is used for not a number, and INF is used for verifying it is infinite or not, and similarly for finite and empty and char and letter. And there are many other examples. You can explore them by using MATLAB. Now I will show an example of isempty command. Here I have typed, as you can see, I have typed isempty A. This will be verifying if A is empty or not, and giving us a result back in a logical manner. Let us have some examples. Here are 4 examples of if-else commands. Firstly, we will create a matrix and try dividing by performing division operation between them, and next we will be verifying the character using E*. Let me create a matrix. Here I have created a row matrix, and I am creating another row matrix here. Now I am writing an if-else command to verify if the first matrix is empty or not before performing the division. I am assigning myself to a variable x so that I can use it again. You can see we have been got a result of, as this matrix division we have got an exact result as we are using 4, 5, 6. For example, if you are using b equals to 4, 6 and 9, then x equals to p by a, you will get an exact result. Right. Sorry. Here you can go to the past commands by clicking the up arrow. Now you're getting a decimal result, I guess. Yeah, it's good. And similarly, you can check for other functions also. Like here, you can write a verify is_char using if-else, and you can compute if the given element is even or not using the reminder built-in command. It is REM, and you can find using max command maximum of any number. Like here, you can reminder command between 4, 2 gives you 0 because 4 is exactly divisible by 2. Now you can try this. Similarly, you can try the other 2 examples. I am leaving it for you guys. You guys keep try and tell us answer. I'm getting an error. Let me check it out.
Actually, ma'am, I think the condition is not there.
Okay, let me verify it once. Okay, I have got one. Like Here we're verifying remainder of 4, 2 will be 0. So I just wait.
Zero is
Remainder of
false.
4, 2 we're getting 0. We're getting 0 as the answer. For 0 we'll be getting else case as it is treated as false in the MATLAB. So we're getting the wrong answer. You have to change it commands. Good. The next two questions you can try out. I'll give you 5 minutes of time. If you have any doubts, you can paste it in the chat box. Now let us look for switch case command. I guess you have solved previous examples. Here you can look at the syntax of the command. Similar to other programming languages, this is almost same, but we don't have the
Ma'am.
break statement here. Yes.
Actually, we can use and or in the case of using if.
Yes, you can use it.
In the same way that we are using in the C language.
Yeah, you can use it. You can use relational operators, which is specified in the morning section. Okay, let us try out some examples.
Okay, 1 minute. Can you please explain the isEmpty command? There is a doubt from Kartik Agarwal.
Yeah, okay.
Just please explain it.
Okay, let us initialize a matrix A. Here, as you can look it, here is a row matrix, so it is not empty. You guys know that. So if you verify it, it is empty or not. We're getting 0, means it is not empty. So we're getting a false statement. If we have verifying for matrix B, we are initializing it as an empty matrix, and we are verifying it. Now we're getting 1. This means true. As B is empty, this indicates true. I guess you got it now. Okay, I'll proceed further then. Now I will just try out 2 examples using switch case. These are very simple examples. You can also try them simultaneously. Let me try them. I will initialize in the first example, we will create a matrix C, which will get a value according to the color which you are passing to it. For example, I have created a variable color having value red. Here for initializing strings, we use a double quote. Remember it? Okay, now let us use switch case. We'll be initializing a matrix C, different for 3 different cases. For yellow, have other value, and similarly for any other color, like I'm assuming to be green. This should also be end with the end statement. No, you can verify the value of C. As we have given red color, we have got 100. If you're changing the value of color, then the value of C will be changing. I guess you got this one. And the next example, let us try performing addition using switch case. Like I'm initializing a variable A, which takes the value of for addition, add, and if for subtraction, you can use SUB. And here you can notice that we are not using break statement. Sorry, I have interchanged the number here. It's subtraction. Okay, I guess. Here you can see the value of Q is as our switch case proceeds, it computes accordingly. And similarly, you can try any other example which you are trying your daily classes using MATLAB for your experience or practice. Now let us begin with the loop commands. We have two kinds of loops in MATLAB, for and while. We don't have the do while loop in MATLAB, as generally for command is used when the fixed number of times, and while command is used when we don't know how many times it should compute exactly. And we can't use increment and decrement operators in MATLAB. Let us try out some examples using for and while loop, just for your clear knowledge. Here I is the counter, which is generally used in our programming languages. It is serving the same purpose. Here I am incrementing the value of I for every loop command, and I am ending the matrix n. If you observe, here A is a matrix is printed 10 times. It will be printing 10 times because we have using 1 to 10. The colon operator represents that we are using for 1 to 10. And similarly, you can try another while loop example. I am initializing 3 different variables. Here I am using the concatenation of arrays or matrices. In MATLAB, we can concatenate matrices. You'll learn about this detail after these examples sometime in this today section only. Now you can see we have got a column matrix V, as we are using the semicolon in between. If we are using column, then we are getting a row matrix. Here at the end the value of I will be 7, as 2 power 8 it will be greater than 100. So I will be ending at the 7. And similarly you can try out other variables also, like you can see the example value of num. And in matrix you have, so in MATLAB you have editor window, like it is an interactive way of generating output, like the output simultaneously generates by typing a command, but we can restrict this by using the editor window. Here this is the editor window. If here we type the command, same command. Here you can see a green symbol. If your command is right, you can see that no warning found. If your command is wrong, like if you're left like this, you can see an error found. You can try out any commands and you can run it in the last, using the run button here. We will try out in the end of the section. For now, I'm closing this one. Okay, let us try some examples using for loop. I'm presenting the questions for you. You just try out them. Computing cross product of two vectors, you can use the command cross. This is a built-in command cross. You can use help to its syntax and documentation. Here is the syntax and documentation of cross command. Just try out these examples out. I'll be taking 5 minutes of time. After that, I will show 2 examples and continue the section. Are you guys trying out these questions? I guess you guys have tried these examples, or you can try them later and ask in the group, or you can ask no itself also if you have any doubts. Should I proceed? Can anyone answer me?
Actually, ma'am, here which geometric series? I think I got confused about it. Sum of geometric series. Which one?
I just meant geometric progression series. You can try it out. Okay, I will be showing it. Like we have formula for computing the value of geometric series, which is given as a r power n minus 1 by r minus 1. I just gave this question that you can try out different expressions in MATLAB. You can see the formula for computing the sum of geometric progression, and in the next line you can try computing that. Let me assign a equals to 1 and r equals to 3. For 6 different elements, I am trying it out. The sum will be just waiting to measure just a minute. Okay, sorry. In MATLAB, we can't try this like this. We have to use the multiplication operator in between. Do not assume it. That is the reason why we are getting the error. You can see the value of sum has been computed.
Thank
And
you, ma'am.
similarly, you can try. Okay, similarly, you can try out generating a geometric series also using MATLAB. Like if I'm assigning a matrix n, is the same value for A and R. Actually, it's element-wise operator here. Yeah, you can see the matrix. Here we got a geometric series 3, 9, 27, 81, 253, and 729. Okay, I guess the other two questions you guys have solved them. Ready to proceed? No, we have different commands with other programming languages also. Return command, break, error, input, and pause. You can see the purpose and the syntax on the screen. Break command, similar to other programming languages, is used to terminate the block, and error command is used to display the message. Return command is used to return the value, and input command is used to take input from the user, and pause command is used to pause the current process. You can pause the process for specific number of seconds by using an argument pause of n. Here n is the number of seconds for which you want to pause. Okay, let us proceed to the next slide. Here, as we discussed earlier about logical indexing or concatenation of two different matrices. Let me try out this in the example. For example, we have a matrix A with a combination of negative and positive numbers. If, for example, we are asked to create a matrix X which has only the non-negative elements of A, X should have only. I'm taking a command for your understanding. If you generally try this out, you will be trying according to your programming language knowledge. That is, initially you will be initializing X empty matrix, and then you will be initializing I. I is used for the index of X. Now you are using another counter variable J, which you will be using for the index of A. Here, length of A specifies the length of the matrix A. In this case, it will be 3, and it will change according to your matrix. This is a built-in function. You can use it anywhere. Someone is asking for me about the logical operators and relational operators using. Here you can see using the relational operators if else condition. Similarly, we can use the logical operators also. I'm increasing the counter. No, if it is positive, then I'm assigning it to the X matrix. Otherwise, if you're not assigning, no, you can see the value of X. Yeah, we have got only 1, 3. The -2, it is not reflecting here because it is a negative number. This will be a procedure. You will be trying it out for the first time. But in MATLAB, we can try concatenation of arrays on matrices. That is the other process. I'm showing it now. Firstly, we will be initializing the empty matrix X. Now we'll be using the for loop. The if condition checks if the number is greater than 0 or not. We don't need to use the I element here as before. This command itself indicates that the before matrix X will be concatenated with the present element. That's the value of X. It is 1, 3 again. We can reduce these command also to single line command by using logical indexing. That is, just this one line command will give you X equals to 1, 3. These three are 3 different types of using these things. This is a simple way. Okay, I'll explain it again without another example. I'm initializing a matrix Y here. Here I will try the X a matrix that contains no negative elements. Y. Initially, I will initialize X with an empty matrix. In case we don't have any number, then we should return an empty matrix. That's the reason why I'm initializing an empty matrix. Just for the same task, I'm writing 3 different codes. This is one code I'm writing here, first code. Firstly, here, okay, I'm doing it for the first again. Here I'm creating a matrix A. I'm creating an empty matrix X and initializing a variable I equals to 0 for the case of indexing. And I'm initializing a loop for loop. And this will run from 1 to length of A. Length of A means the here number of elements in the matrix A. Here you can see the matrix A has 3 elements, so it will run 3 times. Okay. Can you please confirm me that you have understood this part of the question or explanation or not?
Yes, and this part is stable.
Okay, this part is clear. The second part is that you will be doing the same task with less number of lines. For that case, we will not be using the I element here in the next case, and we will just use less number of variables. Similar, it will be similar code. You can see we are using the same matrix A and same X empty matrix. No, we will not be initializing I equals to 0, and we will not using I in this case. If I'm specifying the if condition that verifies if the element is negative or not.
मैम यहाँ पे x को क्यों यूज किया है?
Yeah, I will tell you it. Here, initially, X is empty matrix. I'll be explaining which. Okay. Later,
मैम
when the loop. Okay, tell me.
जहाँ पे a ऑफ j लिखा है ना, उससे पहले x क्यों लिखा है उसके मैट्रिक्स के अंदर?
बता रही हूँ, एक मिनट रुक जाओ. यहाँ पर कॉन्कैटिनेशन कर रहे हैं दो डिफरेंट मैट्रिक्स का, X और A. यहाँ पर X अलग मैट्रिक्स है और A अलग मैट्रिक्स है. You can see that. Can concatenate X with A of 1. यहाँ पर देखो 1 और 3 X का एलिमेंट है और A of 1 1 है. देखो X का एलिमेंट है 1 और 3 पहले और A of 1 1 है, तो दोनों कॉन्कैटिनेट हो रहा है और नया रोल वेक्टर प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है. सेम X में ही जा रहा है वो 1 3 1. I guess you got this.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay then. And we have third way of creating this X matrix, that is we can just simply verify if our just here Here, in the third way, you can just simply verify if A has greater than equals to 0 or not. If it has greater than equals to 0 number, then it will be assigned to X. Otherwise, it will not be assigned to X. In this third case, it is a single line code for the same purpose. Have you guys got this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You can try out other examples, like here we are using non-negative elements. You can try it with negative elements, like you can see this y is -2 here, and similarly you can try with any other relational operator. Let us produce the next section. Menu command. Generally, in other programming languages, we write 2-3 lines to display our menu. But in MATLAB, there is a built-in function named menu, which gives us a menu of the required program. Here is an example of menu command. It creates a menu and lists the options out in a small pop-up window. Let me try out one example for you guys. Sorry. Here a small menu has been popped up. If you're using desktop version, then you'll be having a customized menu. But for the case of web browser, it's a limitation. Here I'm selecting the first option. Now you can see the value of OP will be 1. If you select the second option, then it will be 2. And similarly, you can extend it to any number of options. This is the usage of menu command. Now let us start an example. This is a depth of concept. We have different types of coordinate systems, but generally we use Cartesian coordinate system. But we have another coordinate system, cylindrical, named, so that the coordinates will be rho, theta, and z. Rho specifies for the radius of the cylinder in xy plane. As you can see, it has been highlighted in blue. Here, square root of x square plus y square. And theta specifies for the azimuthal angle, tan inverse of y by x. Now let us create a menu-driven program to convert a point from Cartesian to cylindrical system. For this, we will be using the input command to take out the input from the user. Here, firstly, using the input command, we can ask for the input to the from the user. Here you can see it's asking for entering the input for me. I'm using 3 here. And similarly for another element, A2. I'm assigning it 4. And similarly for other coordinate, A3. Fine. Now let me produce a variable system. This takes the value of the menu. Here, menu displays the coordinate system that we want to produce. First option is you're giving Cartesian coordinates, and in the second option, you're giving the cylindrical coordinate. Here, menu has been popped up. You're selecting the option which you want to use. And now I'm writing a switch case for 2 different cases. I'm using here 1 because the value of system has been recorded as 1. You can see this in the workspace. The value of system is 1 here. So I'm using the case 1 condition here in the block. I'm creating another matrix. The first element of this matrix is the first coordinate of the cylindrical system, and second element, the second coordinate. And the third element will be the third coordinate. So case 2. Winding the switch case here. Here you can check out the value of S. Yeah. As we're converting from Cartesian to cylindrical system, and we are given the value 3, 4, 5. Here square root of 3 and 4 will be 5, and tan inverse of 4 by 3 is 0.9273, and the third element will remain same, 5. You can try out another example that I'm displaying here. Yeah.
And here menu is like just like structure in the C programming.
No, it is different from that.
I didn't got the menu, that one. Actually, it is quite confusing right now.
Okay, wait. I'll be explaining it again. In structure in C programming, you are creating a user function. Like, what does it do in the structure? Just explain to me.
Actually, in structure we defined we defined a series of variable where we use continuously. That means in which we can store string as well as integer as well as float in a single variable by assigning it to different names.
Okay, wait just a minute. For example, just let me type of structure. It will get it clear. Okay. In C, you're using a structure. You will have different type of elements in it. Int, float, or something like string, character. That's it. It is definition of structure. That is it. This is what you mean.
So we have studied in C. Okay, that's what I mean.
I have not explained the exact structure, but it contains different type of elements which has the same name. But here in the menu command, it is popping up a menu. Here you can see it is giving a small window menu. I guess, is it visible to you guys? The
Yes,
small window menu. You can see
Yes,
different options. Option 1, option 2.
Yeah.
You can choose out the option here. And you can see the label of the menu here. And the value of this menu command will be assigned to another variable OP here. I'm choosing first option, so the value of the OP will be 1. Have you got it now?
Okay, ma'am. And why one only? It can be other value also.
Yeah, it can be other value also. You can choose the second variable also. Like, right. Using option 2, then it will be 2. It is according to the number of options. First option it will be having 1. Second option it will have 2. And for third option it will be 3. And so on.
Okay, ma'am. Got it.
Okay. Let's produce further. Now, in the previous session, you had learned about plotting graphs. Now, let us start plotting different graphs. In the morning section, you tried plotting sine graph. Let us try it again. Plot a sine. I'm initiating a variable x using the line space command, which takes the value from 0 to 2 pi, 100 elements in between. And now I'll be plotting the sine of this x. It's taking some time as you're learning it online. Just wait for some time. Yeah. This is the sine graph here. Here's sine. Okay, x and y has been interchanged. Let me try again. Yeah. This is a sine graph here. And similarly, you can plot any other graphs using the plot command. And you can plot this different commands in the same graph with different colors. You can customize your graphs according to your convenience. Here, the third argument blue denotes for blue color. And here the third argument R denotes for red color. You can see we have got two different graphs. Blue one is sine graph and red one is the cosine graph. You can see the values by clicking here. The maximum value is 1. You can check it out at different points. Similarly, you can customize this graph as you like. You can plot it using stem command if you want discrete graph. Yeah. If you use stem command, you will be cutting a discrete graph that is not continuous. It is just for some number of variables. I guess you got the difference between stem command and plot command. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Similarly, you can use any other built-in commands like subplot or hold on for overlaying the plots, and you can label the axis using x label and y label, and you can specify the ratio of x and y axis using x command. You can get the syntax by using help command. Just write out after the section. Now, let me show you a 3D graph. Let us put a 3D graph. So plotting 3D graph, we need to use plot 3 command. This will take 3 variables, sin t, cos t, and t. This will produce a beautiful helix. Here you can see it. This is a 3D graph. This is what the specification of MATLAB is for. It gives us beautiful commands so that you can customize them according to you. I think like you can label the x-axis with something like t. You can see the x-axis been labeled with t. And similarly, you can label the y-axis and z-axis. And similarly, you can get title for it. Is getting a title helix. You can download this graph and you can compute this in. You can use this figure and try computing it again. You will learn about this in the image processing topic. This is very in the latter section. Now let us try some other things. Just try plotting a circle. By using CLF, as you studied before, the figure window will be cleared. Now let us try creating a circle using this plot command. Just wait. So it is taking some time. Yeah, here you can see the circle. It will be a finite radius, and you can customize the circle according to your convenience. Like you can change the color. You can keep it green using G. The color has been changed to green, and you can specify the ligands using ligand command. Sorry. Just a minute. I just forgot the syntax of this command. Here you can see it has been creating a ligand here, circle label. You can label it any other thing. You can customize it according to your convenience. You can let us go to the next section. No, actually the MATLAB is doing signal processing.
Just 1 minute. Okay, Jyotsna, now you can continue. Sorry for the interruption, guys.
Okay, so let us start with functions. Similar to other programming languages, we can create functions in MATLAB too. We can create functions in MATLAB in 3 different forms using inline functions, anonymous functions, and we can create a function file. Okay, and we can perform recursions also in MATLAB. For the time being, we will not be explaining the recursions. You can try it out after some time. Firstly, we will be proceeding with the inline function. Inline functions are created on the same line. Let us write an example for this. Okay. We will be creating an inline function using the inline command. For inline function, we specify that is inline. And here, firstly, f is the name of the function, and inline is the inline function. And now, we'll enter the function formula. For example, we want to compute the value of x square. Here, we have created a function for x square, and we can compute its value using FLFEVL function. This is the built-in function for computing the value at different levels. Here, f is the name of the function, and 5 is the value for which I want to compute the value. Sorry, I don't need to use the semicolon here. Now you can see it has been computed 25 here. We can plot the graph also using fplot command. You can plot the graph also using fplot. Now you can try another way for creating this, that is anonymous function. Here, anonymous function syntax, you can see it here. Anonymous function is just used in the section only. Its scope is less. It does not have any name. The same name f here. Here the @ sign specifies that it is an anonymous function. Now we can function expression. Now you can see that you can call this function.
Ma'am, sorry for the inconvenience, but ma'am, didn't got this one, not a single bit.
Okay, I will repeat it. In functions, in MATLAB, we have 3 different types of functions: inline, anonymous, and function file. In inline function, the syntax is f inline, the function formula. It can be any function like different expressions here, x squared sin x, or any other expression that you can specify, any other polynomial or linear expression. Like here we are having a polynomial. We're creating this in the section after some time, and we can evaluate its value using the FEVAL command, and we can plot its graph using fplot command. Here you can, and we have another type of functions named anonymous function. Here the syntax of anonymous function is that we are giving function name @ list of input variables. How many input variables do you want to pass in the function expression? The scope of the function is that here in the section last. This @ and the list of variables together are called function handle. And the third type of the functions is function file. Function file will create a M5 with the function. I will explain about it clearly after some time. For the time being, let us explain only anonymous and inline function. Let us try out these 2 examples using anonymous and inline function. Okay. I will comment which expression this I want to produce. X cube minus 3x I am trying to produce. I will be naming it as x. Now I am trying inline function here. X cube minus 3 You can evaluate its value using flu command. Here the function name you have specified, and here the value in which you want to evaluate its value. You can see the answer is 110. And similarly, you can try out producing a anonymous function x power 5. Let us name it y at the rate of of 5. This creates a function y and evaluate its value. Here you can see it. I guess you got it now.
At the rate x is means why it has used here means don't it is syntax.
Yeah, it is in the syntax itself. You can see it
Okay.
here. Function name, like f or y or any other name you want to specify it. At the rate is in syntax. In the bracket, you specify the number of list of variables, input variables that are using x, y, z, or any number of variables that you are going to use in the function expression.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then try out these examples.
And please open the syntax page, ma'am. Actually,
Yeah, okay, I'm shifting it out.
and now, ma'am, question.
So just keep a pen and paper that I can't change slide. Okay, can I proceed further?
I'm still trying.
Try it out. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
You can show the example that you have run out.
Yeah, okay, I'll be showing. Yeah, I guess it is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you share PPT with us?
Yeah, I'll be sharing after section.
Thank you.
After completion, just inform me once.
Ma'am, actually, which key you are pressing to get the output? Actually, ma'am, I have downloaded it. I'm very sorry, I have downloaded it and I have made that program. But ma'am, which key you are using to run that? Means actually, I have followed the syntax, but didn't get the answer.
I will create a doubt session. We'll be having it after 10 minutes.
Okay, ma'am.
For the time being, just leave it. Let us continue our section. We just left out with one topic, that is function files. We can create a function file in MATLAB that we can use later. Here is an example of creating a circle function. Before we have seen drawing a circle using MATLAB, we can create that function file. But for the time being, I'll be explaining out another example. This example you can try it out and ask me doubt later. No. Here I have 3 different examples of creating function files. I'll be creating a function file of factorial, which we have generally aware of. Sorry. Just wait. Here I already created a function file named factorial. This computes the factorial of a number. Let me type it again. For creating a function file, we need to use a script file. It's compulsory because we need to save the function file before using it. So we need to use a script file here or the editor window for creating a function. Let us create a function for computing the factorial as we have seen before. Function facten. Okay, it is creating the same function. That's why we're getting another. In function file, firstly, you should define definitions and comments. It is compulsory. Here, I am defining the definition of this file. Function to compute. I am specifying the call syntax of this function. Here, the call syntax is fact y equals to factorial. No, I will build in the function commands. Okay, edit in the editorial window. I'm reducing the counter value by x. Here, as you learned, I'm using the recursion. Here, for loops are also ended and the functions are also ended for using it. You need to save this file. Just wait a minute. I'm pressing Control plus S to save this file. I will save this file with the name factorial. The name should be same as the function name. You can use this. This command will compute the value of 3 factorial. And similarly, you can create any function file and compute its value. I guess you got it or not, you can ask me any query. Yeah, here we are getting a message that this function does not need a semicolon at the end. You need a semicolon. No, you can say green mark. Okay, you can ask any doubts if you have.
Actually, I have a problem regarding software. Actually, that I have downloaded right now.
Okay.
I have downloaded Octave.
In Octave, you can also use a script file. Wait, I'm showing you. I do have the Octave.
Yes,
Here.
and the same one I have downloaded.
Yeah, don't worry. Here in Octave, you can select show editor. It will be showing the editor window. Wait, I'll enlarge it. Yeah. Here also we can specify. I'm just copying here from you. Here I have created a command, function file, and I'm saving it. Save file with the name tutorial. Yeah. Now in the command window, try typing the same command as you have done before. Factorial of 3. Yeah, here is it. I guess you got it now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's clear, then I can proceed further. Okay, try this out. Examples. Try creating a source code for converting temperature from Celsius to Kelvin. And before we had tried the example of coordinate system using menu command. You can try this out again and create a function file for that purpose. Just try them. If you're getting any other doubts, you can ask me. Let us begin with the menu command. Actually, as explained yesterday, the menu command just creates a menu with different options that the user wants. Like generally in programming language, we perform the arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division using the switch case. Similar program we'll write here. In between, we'll use the menu command too. Like here, you can see I'm creating a variable operand. I'm assigning the menu command to this variable. I'm naming the menu as arithmetic operation. And I'm giving the first option as addition. And the second option as subtraction. And similarly, the third and the fourth option.
मैम इधर ये परसेंटेज क्यों यूज करते हैं?
Comment banata hai percentage. Like we write comments in other programming languages. Similarly, just for description. Here I have created a menu. Here you can see the menu is popped up. Has 4 options: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. You can choose any one option according to your convenience. Let me choose the third option. Now you can see that the value of operand is according to the value of the option we choose. It is 3 here. And similarly, you can again choose a menu, create a menu. Like here. We can choose a different option now. Now the value of operand will change. It is 2 here. Yes, it is clear now. Can anyone confirm it is clear or not? Okay. Some of you have requested to continue the logical indexing again. Let us repeat it. Here, actually the logical indexing is nothing but the index of the matrix that we are using is done by using the logical operators. Like if we have a matrix A containing negative and positive elements, both, we can produce another matrix X which contains only the elements greater than or equals to 3. Here you can see it contains only the elements 3, 4, 6 because they are greater than or equals to 3. Here you can see it. A greater than or equals to 3. This is what we call it as logical indexing. In other programming languages, we do it differently. But here it is done using single line command. That is what I wanted to say yesterday. I just wanted to describe the difference between other languages and MATLAB, but I just got confused because of that. Is it clear, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I can continue now. Okay. Just don't get confused. I'm starting the signal processing. I'll be just taking the simple and easy ones. Don't get stressed upon them. You will learn about it in detail in the third semester. Actually, in the signal processing, we process a signal according to our requirement. Signal is defined as a set of data or information. Generally, we consider two types of signals, continuous and discrete. Continuous signal is specified for all values in the continuous range, whereas discrete signal is specified for specific values of range. In signals, we add them, we subtract them, we shift the signal, we reverse the signal, or we flip it. You can see them here. I'm creating the two different. Just a minute. Here before we have created a matrix A. This is a signal. You can assume it as signal, discrete signal, and the matrix X as another discrete signal. Now you can add these both matrix and assign the value to a new matrix X. Sorry. Okay, the dimension is not accurate. Let me create a new matrix. Now I am adding these matrices. I have created a new matrix Y now by adding them. Now you can plot this matrix using stem command. Here you can see the Here you can see a plot. This contains a matrix Y. And now I will use a subplot command which you have learned yesterday but not in the detail. Subplot command creates the divisions of the figure window. If you have entered 1, 3, then it will create 3 divisions of the figure window. I'm using the first division now. In the first division, wait, I'll plot. Here in the first division, I have plotted the matrix A. As we had both positive and negative elements, some are on the upside and some are on the downside. Similarly, we can create a matrix, another plot. Now I'm plotting on the second part of the figure window. Here you can see it. I'm plotting the matrix X which we have created before. You can see it. Now I'm plotting the resultant matrix Y, which is the addition of the matrix. Here you can see we have added the first two signals and created the third signal. Similarly, we can subtract them or multiply or divide. Similarly, we can flip a signal using the flip-lr command. Like if you want to flip the first one, flip X. What is that? Here you can see the result of flip X command. This flips the X matrix from left to right. I guess we got this command. Should I proceed further? No. In signal processing, as we proceed further, we get into convolution and transforms. Firstly, we'll discuss convolution. Convolution is a simple mathematical operation performed on two signals to obtain a third signal. You can see the mathematical expression representing the convolution. You will come to know about it in detail in the third semester. For the time being, just assume it as a mathematical operation. Here, in linear convolution, 4 steps need to be performed. Here is a YouTube video link. You can refer to it after the section if you need the detail. In MATLAB, we have built-in command conv, which computes the result of the convolution. Let me just clear it. I'll create again two matrices or two signals. Now these are two discrete signals. We can create two continuous signals similarly and use them. I will just assign the result of the convolution of these two signals to the third signal, y. Now the y is here the result of the convolution of these two signals. Now you can plot this y.
Ma'am, what does convolution do?
As you have seen the mathematical expression before, here the result of this expression is assigned to the variable which we are using. Like before, we have used y for that case. The result when the x here. Just a minute. Here we have taken two differences x highlighted here, and similarly a. When convolution is performed between these two signals, the result will be assigned to the y. Here, when the convolution is performed between x and a, the result will be assigned this one, which is assigned to the y. For discrete signals, this is the formula.
Okay, ma'am.
Don't stress upon it. It will get clear when you proceed further in semesters. Okay. As y here, you can see in the workspace, the result is 1 cross 11 size, and we are using x, there is a 1 cross 6 size. So we are getting an error. So I am creating another matrix of size 1 by 11. Yeah. Now I can plot them out. This is the result of the linear convolution, and similarly, the continuous convolution result will be also appearing if you perform continuous convolution. I will show it an example, another example. Here, I'm producing two different sine and cosine signals and convoluting them. Here, pi is a built-in variable representing pi, 22 by 7. You can see the value of pi by typing just pi. Here, 3.1416. Here, I'm assigning the result of the convolution to a variable h1. Here, the convolution is performed between x1 and y1. In the earlier example, we had divided the figure window column wise. Now I'm dividing the figure window into three parts, row wise. Here you can see it is getting row wise. You'll get a clear view and it is done completely. Now I'm plotting the x1 signal firstly. Here the sine signal, you can see it. I will increase the size of the figure. Let me complete my code. If you want to know in detail about any of the command, just try typing online help using help command. Just a minute. I'm changing the length of the axis using axis command, as because the first two plots are of size 1 to 1 and 0 to 10, but the third one is of size 50. Sorry. Okay. Here you can see the first one is a sine plot and second one is a cosine plot. You can see the difference. And the third one is a resulted convolution graph. The length is different. You will know about it in detail in the coming semester. Similarly, we have another mathematical tool named Fourier transform. In MATLAB, we have special command named Fourier. Just a minute. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. In MATLAB, we have special command named Fourier to perform Fourier transform. And similarly, we have commands named Fourier, I Fourier, H trans. I Fourier performs inverse Fourier transform. H trans performs Hilbert transform. I H trans performs inverse Hilbert transform and Laplace transform by Laplace. And I Laplace inverse Laplace transform. And Z trans, Z transform. And I Z trans inverse Z transform. I'll be just showing you the Fourier transform. If you guys need, you can use help command.
And actually, we have studied of Laplace transform, so it will be better for us if you show us for Laplace.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will be showing the Laplace one as you are aware of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Just initially I'll be typing help to just know about the syntax, as you guys are not aware of syntax. Okay. Sorry, the online version does not enable us to use symbolic math toolbox. It's a restrict limitation. So let us use Octave for this purpose. Just a minute. In Octave, the command name changes, but the purpose is the same. For Fourier, it is FFT. For Laplace, I'm not aware of it. Let me check it. Yeah. For discrete Laplace operator, it is del 2. Here. Del 2 takes one matrix or the 2 or 3 matrices. It's an optional argument. You just need. In default, it takes 2-dimensional matrix and performs the Laplace transform between it. Here you have, sorry, del operator is different. It's not Laplace transform. Sorry for that. I guess in Octave, the Laplace transform is not available. Sorry for the inconvenience. So, will it be fine if I was showing the Fourier transform?
Yeah, ma'am, it will be fine.
Okay then. I'm splitting two different signals. Of 2x2 size. With FF, I'm performing a Fourier transform between them. You can see the result is another matrix of size 1x2. We can plot them for a clear view. Just try plotting. Here, the plot of the first signal is like this. Just a minute. Let me use the plot. I have used subplot command, so you can see 1 is here and 2 is here, and similarly 4 and 5. The first row, it is located in the first one, and second row in the second one. And now we will be plotting the subplot of B, the second matrix B. You can see the result here 1, 3, and 5 and 6. As they have taken 1, 3, 5, 6. And now we are plotting the resultant FFT. Just computing again. Sorry. I don't know why it is not displaying the figure. It may be because of some internal error. The syntax is correct. Okay, just I will be showing if possible in the end of the section. For my part, today my part is over. I will ask Shashwat to continue. If you have any doubts, you can ask. I'm waiting here for minutes.
And actually, the last page was of function files. We don't know about that.
Okay, I have to repeat the function files again.
Yes, ma'am. just little bit.
Okay, yesterday we have created a function named factorial. I'm opening its file just here. You can see actually the function files. We need to create a separate file just having the description of the function which you want to create. Here you can see the function factorial file it is. This function computes the factorial of n. Here the function file, it is mandatory for us to describe about the function in the first two lines using comments and later write our code. Similarly, you can create another function file. Here I am creating another function file which will compute the given temperature from Celsius to Kelvin. Let me just quickly function. We name it temp equals to Kelvin. I'm passing the variable here. My function will take the input x in Celsius and convert it into Kelvin scale and give the result out in a form of a table. The call syntax is the call syntax will be the first line here which we are writing here. Now I'm writing the function which you want to write just perform. See, just a minute. I'm assigning the value of x to c and in Kelvin it is we have to add 293 to x, I guess. Am I correct? I just forgot the scaling. Just verify me if I'm wrong.
It's 273, I think.
Okay. As days pass, we just confused between the values, so didn't. This is my mistake. Here, this is my complete function. Now I'm saving it and naming it. The name should be the same as we are using in the call syntax. For the factorial system, I was just naming it as string. The name should be this part of the function file. In the case of factorial, you can see it is this part. Now, as the function file is completed, you can use a command window and just type your syntax, call syntax, which was system. Yeah. Which is temp equals to temp. Firstly, we should assign a value to x, and it will be 31. Temp equals to temp ck x. Sorry. Insert. Just a minute, I'm getting an error.
Ma'am, the name of the function is temp, but you have used your temp table. I don't know why.
Yeah, okay. I just know it's correct. Thanks for correcting me. Now, as you can see here, a star mark is appearing because we have not saved this file, so we need to save it again after making a change. Now you can see the result is for 31 degrees Celsius, it will be 304.
Okay, ma'am.
Is it clear? No, shall I do another
Now it is clear. It is
function?
clear now. Now it is clear, ma'am.